Hi, we are Nick and Jill Nelson, the Fine Arts Festival coordinators for the state of Michigan. We want to say thank you so much for volunteering for the festival this year. And we also want to give a shout out to Bill White and to Dan and Joy Green for organizing and helping you guys get set for the weekend and then also throughout the weekend. Through this video, we are going to go through some different positions, volunteer positions, but we're mainly going to focus on the room moderators and the door monitors.
Yeah, those are two important positions. And so let's talk about room moderators for a second. The room moderator will have a few things that you are responsible for throughout the weekend. The first one, and really probably the most important one, is to MC the room. You're going to provide and help create atmosphere in the room. You're going to be announcing performances and who's next, and you're going to help keep the room moving on time because you'll have the schedule with you and everything. And then some of you will also be running the small, simple little soundboard or somebody's phone. If they're using a track, you'll push play, and we'll take you through that when we get to the weekend. But let's talk about the room moderator for just a couple minutes. Friday night and Saturday start times are important. Most performances or most rooms will start Friday night at 5:45 p.m. and then 7:45 a.m. on Saturday. It is really important that you are in your room and ready to go 5 to 10 minutes before that, really 10 minutes before that start time. And here's why. 5 minutes before that first performance, you are going to go through a series of statements that you will make before every performance. And it goes like this. You're going to welcome everybody. You're going to introduce yourself, let them know that you're really super excited that they're here, and then go over a couple guidelines. And we'll have this for you on a cheat sheet, but we just want you to hear it from us as well. The rooms are cell phones, cell phone silence, cell phone free, whatever. Just remind people that they need to turn off their volume, put it on airplane mode, including yours, all right? You don't want it going off in the middle of a performance. You want to remind people and let people know that once the doors are closed, when a performance begins, no one moves in or out of the room. And then cheer for everybody. Let everybody know that they did a great job and encourage everybody in the room. When it comes to introducing performances, like I stated a few seconds ago, you're going to go through the same thing every time so that it's uniform and people know what to expect. This is also important because we really believe this is the method they use at nationals, and we want to set students up for success that advance and go on as well. And so here's the 3 simple statements. In the hole, on deck, and up next. It's that simple. In the hole is this student. On deck is this church or group. Up next is this student or group. Then you're going to ask the next performance to bring their track to you if applicable. You're going to plug it in, you're going to test it or have it tested to make sure that the volume comes through, and then have them get it back to the beginning so that it's ready to go. Give the evaluators just a moment to get set. If there was a performance before, you're going to make sure that they're ready to move forward. But again, encourage them and say, hey, we have a minute until the next performance, or it's time to start the next performance. Can we move on? When the next performance time arrives, when the evaluators are ready, you're going to ask the door monitor to close the doors, and they must be closed before the performance starts. And then once they are closed and everyone's seated, you'll simply say, please welcome to the stage this student or this church or this group. And that will help ensure a smooth process for you and everybody else throughout the weekend.
Yeah, and then something else that you are going to be responsible for is what we call a multi-entry pass. This is if a student or a group had a time conflict, maybe in another room, or another room was running behind and they missed their performance in your room. We just ask that you take that from the student that gives it to you, and then you go ahead and get with the evaluators and they begin to plug them in where they can go, and then you can report to that student or group what time they need to be back to perform whatever performance that was that they missed.
Yeah, so here's something that we've learned over the years. Because you will have a microphone in your hand announcing people, or you will be up in front of people, most people will automatically think that you know everything. It happens wherever you go, all right? And we know that's not the case. It's not your job to answer rule questions or anything else that does not pertain to being the room moderator. So if somebody comes up to you with a rule question or something else that you are unsure of, please direct them to the information table in the East lobby. And that way we ensure they get the answer that they need in the direction that they need. In addition to emceeing the room, this is also something we've learned over the years, and it's always good-natured and good-hearted and everything, but while you keep the room going, please, please, please do not start telling jokes and do not ask if anybody has a joke. We have had a few times where borderline or crossing the border, knock knock, or there were this person jokes came out, and before we realized it, the room got real silent. And you don't want to put yourself in that position. So no jokes, just lighthearted comments, keep the room going, and everything will be great.
Hey, let's take a look at what door monitors are responsible for over the weekend. Please close the door when the room moderator asks. So make sure you're listening, make sure you're standing in the doorway so that you are in communication with your room moderator. Should anyone try to force their way in the door, politely let them know that the room is closed. Now, if they persist, which we have had those issues in the past, you just politely ask them, what their name is and what church they're from. If they are not willing to give that to you, maybe ask someone nearby so that we can make sure that we address that issue or situation with that church. You need to let Dan know as soon as possible, especially if you are having issues maybe with the same group, maybe with the same person, or you're just having repeated issues. So please make sure that that door stays closed. You are in charge of that door, and if you close that door, do not open it until that performance is done. Please also help that the noise in the hallway is at a minimal. Some of the hallways are a little bit tighter, maybe one or two. So just make sure that if there's a lot of people waiting to go into that performance room, that you quietly just kind of ask them to keep their voices down. That will really help with distractions in the room. And then the schedule will be on the wall next to your door. We are just asking that as each performance goes up, that you just cross it off so that when people are walking up to that door and they're asking you, hey, who's next and who's up now, you can just say, hey, it's right on the sheet on the wall. And that will really help your weekend, and it will help make things flow really well. Please, we are asking that you please do not answer rule questions or even changed performance times or conflict questions. Please direct them to the East lobby to Joy or Dan Green that will be there at our info booth all weekend long.
Yep. So when you guys arrive to the festival, Dan's going to do a walkthrough with you guys, take you to your rooms, show you what you're doing so that you guys are set up for success. And when you guys are set up for success, it'll help the students and everybody have a really good weekend and a really good experience. He'll also take you through and talk about breaks, food, what to do when you have to go to the bathroom, things like that. And then he'll take any questions that you guys have and do his best to answer those at the volunteer orientation on Friday and when you guys get back together on Saturday. So again, and Jill and I, we thank you so much for serving the church, for serving the district, for serving the students of Michigan, and we know that you're going to help make it a real stellar experience for everybody there.
Thank you so much.